With all the odds stacked against the Clippers this year, it might be nearly impossible for them to win the championship. When you think about the load management rules now, and on top of that, Ty Lewis said he wants to focus more on the regular season, which means the Clippers, Kawhi and PG, have to play a lot more games than miss games, and they have to stay healthy enough to make it through the regular season just to get to the postseason. And while doing that, load management is out the window unless you're 35 years or older, which neither Kawhi or PG is, I believe, at this point. So, the championship window is shrinking for the Clippers, but the opportunity of getting to a championship just got a lot harder than what it was years ago or seasons ago. And, sometimes in situations like this, it can really backfire on the NBA in regards to, hypothetically, Kawhi and PG actually might stay healthy for the most part of this year, and load management might not be an issue too much with the Clippers. So knowingly that it's going to be tough, it still could be a crazy coincidence that Kawhi and PG stay healthy this year, simply because that rule was put in place, almost seemed like put in place for the Clippers, seemed like more than any other team. Maybe you can add Anthony Davis and a couple others to that list, but mainly for the Clippers, I feel like, or this, at least what it might look like to some, I should say, not specifically what I feel, but how it's going to come off to some is that's directed towards more of the Clippers than anybody else. But coincidentally, hypothetically, if they stay healthy with this rule being put in place, that would almost like backfire on the NBA, as in like they thought they were trying to make an example out of a team like the Clippers, and ever since you implemented the rule, Kawhi and PG stayed healthy ever since after. And I hope that's the case. I hope the coincidence actually comes true to reality, where they don't even need load management that much this year, and they find a way to get through it and do what they have to do. And with that being said, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it is a possibility, and it could happen. So sometimes when things happen that way, sometimes it's all for the best, because it brings the best out of the players, and, they find a way around situations like this and play at their highest level. So hopefully, that backfires on the NBA in that regard, to where Kawhi and PG just all of a sudden this year stay healthy and none of the load management rules affect them. That would be great, honestly. So we got to hope for that. And then we got to take into effect also that, the Clippers schedule this year, in which Paul George spoke on, in which I made a video about, you can check out, that could be a problem for the Clippers as well. So, when you think about the scheduling, all that, and, just the fact of, like I said, the load management rules being put in, it's almost like the NBA is picking on the Clippers to some degree. And when you look at it from a standpoint of a Clippers fan, it really sucks, because you want to see this team do good. You want to see this team, win, but at the same time, for more than anything, you want them to stay healthy. But with the rules and the odds stacked against the Clippers, it's mandatory that they have to stay healthy more than any other season this year, because they're going to get fined if they don't. And on top of that, one fine goes to the next, one goes larger, and then the reprimands keep going up from there. So, I don't know, how that's going to work out for the Clippers. Now, I will say this. I will say the Clippers have a great advantage. Steve Ballmer has so much money that I don't really think that a couple of fines is going to hurt him. The man's worth like, several $1 billion. So I don't think, $1 million, $2 million fine, that's pretty much chump change to him. So he might actually pay all the fines for this year for all the games they need to sit out, prior to the season, because he's got money like that. So, in that regard, it's not going to hurt the Clippers, because they have an owner that's willing to spend as long as they're going to play their heart out and they're willing to win. So, that's pretty much how that goes. And I feel like Steve Ballmer is all in for that, as long as, he can get more health out of Kawhi and PG and a better opportunity in the playoffs than what he's gotten so far. And it's going to be tough for that to transpire, because when you're asking players to stay healthy when they're not usually staying healthy, it's hard to do, because it's hard to say what their body feels like and what their body is going to, be able to endure and all that, while, within the season. So, it could be. It's this is probably the toughest season that Kawhi has probably ever been in. Just the Clippers in general, all of them. Because like I said, if they come out of this season with a championship with all the odds stacked against them, I mean, do you know how incredible that would be for them to do that? In all the previous years before the NBA rule, load management came in, and before their schedule was, before years prior to this one, their schedule wasn't as bad as what it is this year, in regards to the away games and not playing at home and things like that. So it could really be a struggle, or it could really be a great thing, a great situation. The Clippers find a way to overcome it. This would be one of the most, this would be one of the biggest intriguing championships that ever came about, because, as I said, all the odds stacked against this team. And we all feel like, I'm not going to say we all, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of us feel like that load management rule is specifically pointed right towards the Clippers. I mean, why in the hell would they come up with this rule all of a sudden when Greg Popovich and the Spurs and Kawhi and Tim Duncan and all of them been doing this since the early 2000s, or like since 2010 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So why implement this rule now? You know what I'm saying? You should have been implemented that rule so long ago, because coaches have violated it. I mean, even Stephen A. Smith, spoke about Steve Kerr last year sitting out Draymond and the Splash Brothers at a game against Orlando, or I think it was, and where all of them were supposed to play, and just set them out just because. But see, there again, Steve Kerr is another one, a part of that Popovich era, Popovich way. He played for Greg Popovich, so some of Greg Popovich's coaching strategies and tips he knows and he implements in his game, in his coaching strategy, which helps the Warriors be a superior team that they've been, for the last several years. So, I mean, you could say it's towards other people, but I still feel like it's towards Kawhi and PG, or mainly more towards Kawhi, because, like I said, he's more known for load management, and load management is almost like Kawhi's middle name. So I feel like it's attached to the Clippers more than any other team. But hopefully they find a way to overcome it and get past it, because, with all the odds stacked against them, they're going to really have to show and tell this year. And, Kawhi's going to have to play his heart out like always, and so is PG, but they're going to have to be more on the court. They're going to have to be more available and play their heart out, not play their heart out at times or things like that, or otherwise their team is going to get fined. And, it could be a crazy, crazy situation with that. Then again, you never know. Maybe they might just list them as injured and no load management. This way they can get around it. Who knows if that'll work in this equation, but maybe that's something I would do if I was a GM. But either way, it's going to be a tough season for them to win a championship, and I'm very interested to see how they might overcome it all and take it to the next level. But here's my take on everything. Leave any comments and we'll talk about it.